everyone, this is Pico Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to talk about both the Marvels and the Hunger Games and do some box office reporting for the period Friday the 17th of November 2023 to Sunday the 20th of November 2023. Now there could be spoilers here, especially for the Marvels, so just beware when going into this overall video, and you can check out both my non-spoiler and spoiler reviews of the movie, and I'll leave some links within the description. So we'll get straight into it then in terms of the numbers, and we'll focus first on the Marvels, which continued its shame, unfortunately, as the worst performer within the MCU. That definitely now seems the case, especially in US cinemas, when in its second weekend of release, it dropped a massive 78% for only a $10.2 million gross. Overall, the movie has now only managed to make $65 million, and is now almost certain not to get to the $100 million mark, which is the minimum required for these type of blockbusters. Now, to put that into some sort of contrast, the lowest MCU total in the US was around $122 million by the Incredible Hulk movie way back in 2008, of course in Marvel's Phase 1. In terms of superheroes in general, this year, it's not quite as low as Shazam! Fury of the Gods, but it probably won't even reach the low total reached by The Flash earlier on this year. That movie itself barely got over the line in terms of $100 million. And it really does put into some perspective in both the Marvel and DC brands, which for so long have seemed stratospheres apart, and the Marvel's seemingly lower performance has been noted more than once, shall we say, especially by DC fans online. Now, internationally, the movie hasn't even hit the $100 million mark. It currently stands at $96 million. Its global tally overall is around $161 million. And that's even more damaging, as the MCU has normally had a very strong performance overseas. Now, many analysts are predicting that the movie will top out at around $270 million. Again, that'd be very bad, as it will just be above the Incredible Hulk total from 2008, as I mentioned before. And that's quite the shocking turnaround when you consider how far the MCU has come since the release of that Hulk movie in 2008. So in short, this is a complete disaster all round for Marvel, and I've already covered last week as the reasons why I think the movie underperformed so much. So really now the only real question is to whether the Marvels is just a freakish one-off, or are we going to see this as a new way of order for the MCU going forward? Now many will say, well, the warning signs were already there in terms of the underperformance of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, but I think it's safe to say that this is not the new order of things for the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far. I'm pretty sure we're not going to, or we shouldn't see the same type of performance for the next installment. In fact, the next entry, which is subject to change of course, but so far at this time, will be Deadpool 3, and that character's assumed entry into the MCU. Playing alongside Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, of course, it's safe to say that Deadpool 3 will make more than the Marvels, as will of course the fourth MCU Spider-Man movie whenever that comes out. So those two entries are guaranteed successes that the franchise can fall back on. The real concern is with the likes of Captain America: Brave New World and also Thunderbolts. Now, whilst I'd expect both of these films to gross more than the Marvels, will they be big successes in the $500+ million range, or will they just gross another $200 to $300 million? And this is the real problem for Marvel. Whilst they'll still rely on their established characters, if they want to go beyond Phase 6, Phase 7, and eventually introduce the Young Avengers, then some of these secondary characters have to start proving that they can deliver on the big stage. Otherwise, they should all be relegated to Disney+. Now again, as I mentioned last week, I think Marvel have done the right thing by scaling back their projects. Deadpool 3 so far is set to be the only release in 2024. So if they lessen the amount of content coming out, that can somehow shift the narrative in terms of the overall franchise and how good it succeeded. But what the Marvels has proved beyond any reasonable doubt is that we are no longer at the stage where Marvel can just release anything and it will automatically make money. They most definitely need to work on the quality in terms of their storytelling and also their characterization. So we'll then turn our attention now towards the Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Really wish they could have picked a better title, but regardless of which, the latest Hunger Games installment did manage to claim the #1 spot in the US with a take of around $44 million. Worldwide, the movie is just short of $100 million, so that's not quite as devastating as the Marvel's opening, but it's nothing to shout about either. Now certainly it's a far cry from the glory days of the previous entries within the franchise. It's easily the lowest opening of the series, that at its time would play very much like a top tier MCU movie with regular $100 million openings in the US alone. So why have we seen such a decline in performance here this time round? Well, it has been over 8 years since the previous installment of the franchise, so any hype has died down significantly, and whilst the movies are very successful, I wouldn't really put the Hunger Games on the same levels as either the Lord of the Rings or the Harry Potter films, and I'm not really sure how high exactly the anticipation was for another Hunger Games installment. We also have to acknowledge that whilst it's based on a novel series, cinematically, the franchise is always synonymous with Jennifer Lawrence in the lead role as Katniss. So her not being here this time round probably will lose a certain amount of fans. And in this regard, we then have to talk once more about Rachel Zegler, already proving to be very polarising, mostly in terms of online perception, it has to be said. This, of course, is in regards to all of the discourse surrounding the live-action Snow White adaptation, now set back for release in 2025. So her involvement here may have put off some fans from seeing the film, and at this moment, she is of course nowhere near as prolific as what Jennifer Lawrence was, who we remember was actually an Oscar winner before she starred in the first Hunger Games movie. But on the positive side of things, this latest installment only cost around $100 million, so there isn't the same pressure here to make that $600 million to $1 billion as to what we saw with the Marvels. But I think overall, it's a very underwhelming release, and I'm not really sure we'll see any future installments within the franchise, certainly not with Rachel Zegler in the lead role. So there's my overall thoughts and feelings when looking back at both the Marvels and the Hunger Games and how well they've been performing recently at the box office. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you have any other further movies, television series, or any other topics within the pop entertainment and culture scene that you'd like to see me cover, then also let me know within the comments, and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please consider hitting like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very, very soon.